Tricia Ziff, who was a kind of curator, and she was a photographer, and she was somebody I knew, and she had created exhibitions and was doing stuff, and had spent a long time in Ireland in the north, and organised something called Derry Camera Work. She was a photographer and organiser who had gone to Derry and organised there with young people, sort of unemployed kids and stuff, and young Republican kids, to start making images of their lives. Anyway, she asked me at some point to put some paintings together that she was going to try and get a show going, which was called Distant Relations in the end. And it was relations between Irish artists and Mexican artists, and the distance and the similarity and the closeness around questions of national identity, anti-imperialism, various things. Anyway, so I started making these paintings because the war was going on in the north at the time, and they were all based on the tricolour. And I really don't know why I decided, but I started making paintings with acid on metal, and all of them had, although they were a format of portrait format, I would have landscape across them. I would have a tricolour of one sort or another, representing the Irish flag, orange and green, divided by, or held in peace by the white in the middle. So the images are all of the war in some kind of ways, and what I was using was acid onto the surface of the zinc. And I think the most interesting thing in a way for me about the thing is that over the years since I made them, because a long time ago, I don't know how long 1995 is ago, but it's long enough, slowly the titanium out of the zinc has come to the surface as like titanium white, sort of like leaching out of the metal. And all of the acid has just been eating away at the metal as well. So there was acid on it, there was screen print on it, there was acrylic paint, there was squeegeed images, etc., etc. And all of them have started to bubble and change and boil. And I knew from the start that this is what would happen, that slowly everything would. And what I used was I would soak newsprint in acid. I'm not sure exactly what the kind of acid it was now, but I could find out if anybody wants to know. And as soon as you put it onto the zinc, it turns the zinc black. It does these amazing things. So you have to control how quickly you take the piece of paper off. And I used various things like just, what do you call it, a piece of 2x1 dipped in acid and then put onto the zinc like that in lines, and the acid would run down and turn the zinc into black. So it was a great thing to control, and it was always out of control. So you'd have to do it very, very quickly, so because everything's happening at once, and then I would put screen print on top of that of various things, which you can see in the thing. And part of it, one of the screen prints is of Subcomandante Marcos. It was shown in various parts of the world. Before we went there, I knew it was going to be in Mexico, and there were Mexican artists. So I went down to Chiapas, which is, if you don't know, is right at the bottom of Mexico, and met up with people in a place called La Realidad. And I thought La Realidad was a great name, reality. But actually, no. La Realidad doesn't mean reality, it means the reality of the Trinity. So I was kind of rather disappointed, because I thought it meant something quite kind of revolutionary. And the idea of the reality of the Trinity, I don't buy that. Not being a Trinitarian or a Christian for that matter. So anyway, and when we went there and we met up with the Zapatistas, and it was very impressive. So in that image, I squeegee a screen print of Subcomandante Marcos's mask. He was famous for this ski mask he had, so it just has his eye and the ski mask.